Always knew, somewhere, somehow, I could reach past the limits, daring to be different, and I can't lose 10 toes to the
Terrence Alexander with Real Business Talk TV.
And Israel right here with Real Business Talk TV.
And we're gonna let our guest introduce herself because she got this dope song she just did, so we want her to do it again.
Gotcha.
My name is Sheriese Nicole. I'm here on Business Talk TV with the brothers, and I'm ready. Let's do it.
You ready to get in this conversation?
Yes.
Okay. So the first question we got for you is, how did you grow up and where did you grow up at?
Okay. That's loaded for someone like me. All right. Well, I grew up in Ohio. Actually, I was born in Lorain, Ohio, which is right outside of Cleveland. So that's where I'm from. Cleveland. You know, I moved to Cleveland when I was 2. You know, so I'm kind of from that area. And how did I grow up?
Middle class, lower middle class.
In crack houses.
Okay.
Okay.
That's really, truly how I grew up.
And how would you say growing up in the crack houses shaped your life today?
I'm a miracle. You know what I mean? People who I grew up with, they don't have the spiritual, I could say, you know, for me to have the spiritual, emotional, and mental state that I have coming from where I come from, I am a miracle. It's a miracle, you know, based on, you know, what I know about people who grew up around me and where they are and where their mental states are.
So tell me a little bit about the experience. Like, I know you're saying you're growing up in a crack house, but tell me, like, what age to what age?
All right. I mean, the way I grew up, I could say that my family, my mom was a loving person. You know, my grandmother, everybody had good hearts, you know, but you know, it was just a lot of trauma, generational trauma, you know, and so when the crack era hit, you know, even before the actual crack, maybe I was like 3rd grade, 8 years old when I start walking in and seeing grown-ups doing crazy things. I grew up with Rick James posters, life-size Rick James posters, and you know, my mom had me when she was 16. She had turned 16, and I mean, yeah, she turned 16 and then had me a week later.
Wow.
So she was like just coming from 15 years old. She was pregnant. She was 15 years old. So, you know, and she was traumatized a lot in her life as well. And so, you know, during those times in the 80s, I really saw a lot, you know, went through a lot, through a lot, you know, even before that when I was young, you know, my mom was very young. She was like 18, 19, maybe when I was like 5, going in, you know, in that arena. Maybe she was like in her young
Early
20s. And she would go out and leave me and my little brother when I'm like 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And, you know, I wake up and you screaming, where are you? And, you know, so that's a lot of traumatizing stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so from there, you know, going through not having utilities, not having, you know, getting molested a lot. I'll share.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a lot. My mom missing, fights, grown-ups fighting all the time. You know, social services coming to the house. A lot.
So that's from what age to what age?
I would say that was from, like I said, pretty much my whole childhood until I was about 13. Well, until I was about 14, my mom, you know, got clean. She's still clean to this day. She's working on her PhD.
That's what's
up.
And she's
That's great.
She's been a counselor all my teenage life and, you know, throughout my life. I followed her same footsteps. We worked in the same facilities, you know. So I need to say, you know, my mom is dope. You know what I mean? She's she was an African dance teacher when I was about 17, you know, but right now she's the CEO of inpatient drug treatment facility for men in Griffin.
Wow, that's a good turnaround.
That's a great turnaround story.
That's what I'm telling you.
what's up.
It's you know, that's how I grew up, which it has its effects.
course.
And I've been in my healing process my whole life, you know, since my mom started healing and started knowing what I needed, and then me finding out what I needed, you know, and going in that same helping field. See, I'm also a mental health therapist.
Wow.
And so, you know, I'm able to, you know, assist other people in a way that, you know, comes from that experience, you know. And so same with my mom, you know what I mean? So
who was you in high school? Like,
in high
what type
school,
of stuff was you into in high
yeah,
school?
in high school, I played every sport.
Wow.
I played basketball, I ran track, I cheerleaded. Anytime I could do anything, I did it. I performed in every talent show, straight A's. You know, I was just
And you
always
still
like
in
that.
Cleveland at this?
We moved to Pittsburgh when my mom got clean.
Okay.
It was rough because it was just a lot of gang violence. I seen a lot of friends pass away and get shot, and you know, it was really, really, really bad. So high school was tough because I did all of those things. I was an athlete, and like I said, I always had straight A's and B's. But you know, being in those streets was rough. I had 3 little brothers I practically raised. Even though my mom was clean, she was still young. And I pretty much had my brothers taking them to cheerleading practice, taking them everywhere, you know? And so that was my life. The people I hung around, everybody, like I said, if I look back and look at where they are now, it was rough for us, you know? And so, you know, I'm one of the only people that I know of that spiritually have matured, you know, mentally have matured the way that I have.
So give us your, like, after high school, what's your first career you go into?
After high school, I went to college.
Okay, what college?
I put myself in college because I was on my own at 17. My mom decided she wanted to go and get married and move to Cleveland. And I was still in high school. And so she wouldn't wait for me to graduate. So I stayed and I was on my own. And I lived here and there and there and there, and I finished school. And then I put myself in college.
Okay, what college is this?
And I went to Cheney University.
Okay. Where is it at?
It's a black school in Philly, and like right outside of Philly.
Okay.
So black like HBCU?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they all say they're the first.
Okay.
See you, mother.
That's what's up. So with that college experience, like, was there any type of like, oh man, I want to kind of get into a specific thing, or you was just embracing being in college or being away from your family too?
I love reading, writing, school, learning. You know, I always loved it. So
you're
I was
an
into
academia
that.
person anyway.
But then I was just a little gangster coming from where I came from.
I
wore baggy clothes and
Got
drank
you.
40s and
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? So what I did though, school was very, very instrumental for me, going to Cheney, because I started learning about the 5 percenters, the Muslims, the New World Order, and you know, I started getting put onto all this knowledge, and it was just like, whoa, this is deep. This is like, wow. And my mind was already ready for it. I have the spirit for seeking truth, you know what I mean? And so I was like, wow, this is deep. And it was like people from New York, Philly, DC, you know, because it was in the Philly area, but it was Pennsylvania, so I was in-state student, you know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of us from Philly and Pittsburgh, but it was a lot of people from other places. And so, you know, by the time I was in my last year of school, more than one person, I remember at least 2, came up to me and said, you have changed so much.
And what would the change? What is the change?
I'm telling you, I was a little gangster, man.
Got you.
You know what I mean? Like I used to perform and rap and stuff. That's when I used to do a lot. You know, to go to the studio and rap and all of that. But my raps always was conscious, even though they was gangster.
You're like Tupac.
That's how I was.
Okay.
I love
Tupac energy. That's what's up.
Tupac is my husband.
That's what's up.
And so, that's how I was. And so, because I came from rough stuff. And so, but I matured because that's just how I am. I grow. I am into growing. I'm into what do I need to be working on now? What do I need to be working on next? It's always something, and that's how I work with people. I'm very good at helping people develop. I'm an artist developer, you know what I'm saying? Helping people to tap into themselves and know, you know, where the next step for them. You know, not condemning them in any or judging them in any way. You know what I'm saying? Just what it is you've been through affects where you are. You know, I talk to over 100 people a month. you know, in crisis situation, depression, anxiety, all kind of things. But, you know, and I'm very, very sharp right now with it, but it's a natural gift that I have, on top of the fact that my experience, I don't want to hear from no counselor, therapist, or nobody about no marriage if you ain't been married. If you ain't had no successful marriage. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as a healer, in the way that I am, you know, I take my experience. I am not going to preach and give you advice about something I don't have no idea about. I'm not going to tell you about narcissism if I haven't experienced it. I thought I knew what it was until I experienced it.
What is it?
I knew the book.
Right. The
tell
definition
the audience
of
what
it.
is it.
Yes.
Please.
Okay, so I just want to say this about narcissism. Right now, it is a crisis. Okay. Like I said, I talk to over 100 people a month, you know, in single sessions when they need in-the-moment support. It's a crisis right now, okay? And so narcissism is something, I want to say this first, that is not just affecting intimate relationships. We're talking about personal, family relationships, friendships, social community relationships, as well as in the workplace, you know? And so narcissism is, to me, based on my experience, is when an individual is traumatized, you know, so much that they start to develop this behavior. Because what trips me out is that this behavior goes across the board. It's like the same things people describe.
Give me some of the behaviors.
The criteria, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the DSM-5, right, which is the Bible for mental health diagnosis, and they give criteria. I'm gonna give Sheriese Nicole's criteria.
Okay.
Got it. Let's go.
Okay.
All right, and so,
And I'm familiar with the DS5.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of stuff went on there and they put it on there. Okay.
That's true. And so,
We ain't gonna speak about all that, but y'all go look it up.
right. Look at do the research. I used to always say that on my radio show. I say everything I say so you can go research it. You know what I mean? But so one of the behaviors is sociopathic lying. You know.
I know some of those.
Just lie.
So why do people lie? Give us
fear. Fear.
Gotcha.
Period. You know, fear of something. That you just can't have the courage and be brave
And it's
to
cheating
tell the
apart.
truth. But it becomes a mental issue when you can't tell the truth. When you get so deep in a habit of lying. You see children that started early, you know, and a lot of times it's trauma that causes them to feel like they have to lie.
See, when you put the fear into it, that makes a lot of sense, because they might feel like if I tell the truth, then I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm making somebody else maybe feel bad, or especially like 2-parent households. I'm a lie to protect my mom or my dad because I don't want the other one to be mad at them, and then they're gonna be mad at me. So I get it. I definitely get that. That's traumatic. For sure.
Another question with the narcissism, and where does depression come from? Because I'm seeing a lot of our youth depressed. So give us where you think depression come from.
Okay, well, what I know based on my experience is that depression is a buildup of stress with no outlet. You know, a buildup of stressors, a buildup of feelings that are very uncomfortable. Maybe you're getting treated a certain way. Maybe things are not going the way you like it in your life on a daily basis, and you're not talking to anyone, and you don't have any self-care methods. You don't have any outlets where you're, able to release this and feel like you're being treated fair in some kind of way, or find that light somewhere.
And what's the difference between stress and anxiety?
Stress is pretty much just having an uncomfortable feeling of just a build up of something uncomfortable in you. Thoughts or feelings, like example, just having a day where there's a lot going on and you're having a rush, or you're having a, and you're not finding peace with it. You know what I'm saying? That's just, it's simple. Stress is a simple thing, but the buildup of stress is the concern. You know, when you don't have an outlet, when you don't have a way to say, oh, wait a minute, let me meditate, let me breathe. Let me breathe this out. Let me be positive. You know, having those affirmations or having ways to de-stress. You know, so stressors are everywhere, but anxiety is another build up of stress.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So you would say they the same, because what I like to always
depression and anxiety is not the same, and stress and anxiety is not the same. The difference between depression and anxiety is I mean, they go together a lot. You know what I'm saying? But anxiety is more when your mind is racing. And you know how you're just worried about something and you're thinking about it and you're thinking about it and you're thinking about it. And, you know, sometimes people can get clinically, clinical anxiety, where it's really, you know, you go to a psychiatrist, they're gonna give you medication. That's a whole nother conversation to have about when people need it or not. You know what I mean? Or how, you know, how they're pushing these things. But, you know, it can go to that point when you can't function because you're overthinking things. You know,
you think most people
panic
overthink?
attacks come from anxiety, things like that. Depression is more like you laid out, you can't get up, you know, you just give it up, your energy's down, you know.
So I think,
but they go together
I
a lot.
always say stress is worried about the past, anxiety is worrying about the future. That's how I look at the two. That's why I want to ask your opinion.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Even though anxiety, you can be worried about the past.
Okay.
Because you go through traumatizing things and people have anxiety thinking about what they went through. You know what I'm saying? A lot. And as they processing the trauma.
So would you say most people you deal with overthink?
What you mean, in mental health therapy?
Yeah.
No. It just depends on what they're dealing with, but a lot of times what they're dealing with leads to anxiety, where they call it in the moment because they can't get a comfortability or a balance with their emotions and how they're feeling about what they're thinking.
Okay, give our audience a tip to deal with anxiety and stress and depression. And you can start out with depression first.
Okay, so a tip to deal with depression. Okay, so to me, depression is that buildup of stress, that buildup of, you know, not having that outlet, not having that space to release, you know. And so, and whenever somebody calls me, say, oh, I'm dealing with depression, I say, have you been dealing with stressors on a regular basis for a while, like a pattern of stressors, and not had any outlet and it's kind of building up? They'll say, yes, oh my God, you know. Most of them say yes, and maybe all of them. I can't remember a time where I did that exact thing, you know, let them know that this is what it is. And they said, no, that's not it, you know. And so it's all about self-care. It's all about, you know, making time. People say, one of a family member I have, I'm saying, hey, did you make your therapy session? You know, because I know that they need it. I don't have time, you know? It's like when you don't make time for your self-care, for yourself, like you're not making time for, you know, it will make, if you don't deal with it, it's gonna deal with you.
Facts.
It's gonna build up.
So you would say most people have depression because they don't have an outlet. They don't have anybody to vent to.
They don't have anybody to vent to. They're not enjoying their life. They're not finding ways to push, to motivate, grabbing to those things that motivate them to get up and say, let me go run. Let me exercise. Let me, you know, call a friend that I know loves me. Using your support system, and healthy coping, getting away from the unhealthy coping, you know, pushing away from the over drinking and the, you know, doing things that you know are not healthy to cope with the feelings, you know what I'm saying? So that leads you deeper in depression a lot of times, you know? So just having those outlets, support system.
So you would say people need friends, a support system,
somebody they can trust to talk to. Ongoing therapy is very, very helpful. Talking to somebody you don't know who's going to help you and give you therapeutic feedback based on human behavior.
And what would you say to the people, because a lot of people say therapy don't work. So what
especially in our community.
Yeah, especially in our community. Black people. So what would you tell the audience that say that?
I would
or the people that say that?
I would say don't knock it till you try it. I would say, you know, I'm a scientist. I don't debate with people who have not tried something or who have not researched it enough. You know, who just going off of ghetto myths.
And the feelings. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So I don't even have anything to tell them, but you know.
So you know it worked.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I would say, you know, when it comes down to it, there is a lot of people, you know, like, you know who making some of the biggest money right now? Since we were on Business Talk?
Real business talk. TV.
What we talking? Go ahead.
BetterHelp.
Oh my!
Okay,
I
like
had signed up for BetterHelp, and I said, man,
I like BetterHelp.
They getting
was cool.
it though.
It was cool.
I think about stuff from that aspect. Like, dang, how can I just, you know what I'm saying?
It was cool, but what I will say is you might need multiple. You might need to try multiple people because
What I'm
sometimes you
saying-
just get put with somebody.
You do, and that happens.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, the point is, it is
Also-
working
Oh, yeah, it's
for
definitely working.
somebody.
Yeah,
I like
If they are building this multi-million dollar
billion.
billion,
Yeah.
they the
Billion with
biggest. They the
billion.
biggest.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Facts.
And so it's something working about it.
Absolutely. And people need it.
Because
People need
there
it.
are real therapists.
Yeah.
My mom is just hooked. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
hooked up with them.
So would you ever recommend like somebody that say they need to just smoke or they need to have a drink? Do you ever recommend that or you don't? Because I know you said they
It's
can
not that I don't recommend it. People, you know, it's just too much of anything is bad, and abusing things is bad.
There you
Even
go.
smoking herb is natural. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that's so bad. Taking a gummy or something, you know,
Yeah.
to get loose. But when you overdoing these things, you
Yeah.
know, because it's legal in some places, and people, you know what I mean? It's criminalized in some places, which is ludicrous to me. You know, but it is a natural thing. So even that natural thing can be abused.
What about, do you have any experience? I know you said you're a scientist. What about mushrooms? I hear a lot of people use mushrooms.
Okay, so the psychedelic thing is a whole nother thing as well. And it's the same. I would say the same. I would say stay away from the man-made pills and all of the, you know,
Synthetic
the drugs
and stuff like that,
the
yeah.
synthetic things that come, you know, psychedelic, but things like mushrooms, it's a meditation, just like herb. That's what I say. You know, but I don't recommend, because you know I'm a mental health therapist, so, you know, I don't recommend people do those things. It's a case-by-case situation. I would have to talk to people and see where they at and see what's going on with them, and see what their addiction patterns are. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. People overdo things.
What about people that
overuse
have like
things.
an addictive personality? Like where do you think that comes from?
That's hereditary seeming to me.
Okay.
You know, addictive personality is definitely real. Some people can smoke crack just on the weekends, and some people, they smoke crack, they done.
Yeah.
They just gotta, you know what I'm saying?
That's, hey,
What
I'm
about-
gonna
what about-
I'm gonna take your word for it.
Because there's some people I met and they say, oh, I smoke crack, you know, I used to smoke crack on the weekends, you know, and then I just said, oh, I can't do this no more.
Well, they say,
and then just stop. But then,
Oh, wow.
you know,
I
but then I
heard
know,
some people that smoke crack and say, who the crackhead if you smoke herb? You smoke one every 10
Yeah,
minutes. I
hey.
smoke one every weekend. Or whatever.
I said pick
So
your
like that.
poison. Yeah, pick your poison.
But
so.
that's the thing. Some
Yeah.
people have that addictive personality, and some people, you know, they if they try something like that,
They'll
like
get
myself,
addicted
I've
easily.
never ever done anything outside of, you know, I have never went towards nothing like that when it comes to cocaine, and you know what I'm saying.
You think
I
seeing
never
it at a
tried
young
it at
age
all.
was it?
That's what I'm saying.
That's okay,
I wouldn't
okay.
do it because I seen that
Yeah.
in my life, and I know what it did to them. See, the people that I was around, they wasn't just the weekend smokers; they was crackheads, and they had to stop everything and go into recovery, and never drink again or nothing.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the addictive personality piece, and people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? That don't have addictive
So
personality.
you think it's wired in people's DNA? The
I
addictive-
think it's pros and cons to it. I think it's a reason for that. It's a drive in those type of people that's there for other reasons. But you know, these chemicals in this world,
Yeah.
they pick up on that, and that they be driven in the wrong way.
Okay.
That's good stuff. So, okay, cool. So we went to college. You got into your first career, which was
My first career is counseling.
counseling. And then from counseling, when did it click? Like, I want to start doing more things or multiple things, going into rapping. I want to be radio.
Well,
I
she
want
been rapping.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
I've
how
been-
did you
I've
say
been
I want to
rapping
put
all
it
my
out
life.
there and take it to another level?
Well, when I moved to Atlanta, well, prior to that, when I was in Cleveland, I just started recording. You know, I always was doing music, and I love music. You know, I can't stop doing it. I don't have to be Beyonce or trying to do all of that. You know, I just want to do it because I love it, and it's inspiring, and it's another way to heal people. It's therapy for me. you know, so I play the bass, you know, I always like live music because that's the most healing form of music for me. But I've always done that, and so I never stopped. And I moved to Atlanta.
What year?
2003.
Okay, so what era was that in Atlanta with the rap scene?
Man, I was running the streets. I was running the streets, man.
I'm talking about what song you remember back then that you were listening to?
Back then.
Let me see, 2003 was like the crunk, wasn't it? Or like snap music.
Yeah, it was
music.
snappy.
Yeah.
It was snappy.
That was 2004,
but it was
2005.
Yeah, it was kind of before that.
That was before
but
that.
I can't remember. I don't
You gotta
know.
remember one song that you was running the streets to.
I was running to the streets to my song.
Okay.
And the local people around.
Yeah.
It was just, when I came here, it was just so crunk with so much
What
to
club
do.
you going to back then?
Apache.
Okay.
Apache.
Performing all the time.
That's what's up.
You know, and meeting other people
Been
and
there a couple
running
times.
into people that I knew already. Then I started doing promotions. I end up at Ron Cameron morning show
That's what's
with my people from Cheney University that I was doing promotions and meeting people.
So you would say Atlanta is the foundation, basically.
For me and finding myself when it comes to me as a master event producer, for me as an artist, developer, for me as an artist who have developed, for me as a publicist. I've done publicist work really successfully for all kind of different types of people, doctors, everything. Just the
I seen you went to that West End to shoot that video. You had to be. I seen, you know.
Yeah. That media work, you know what I'm saying, is my thing, because I produced that video.
That's
You know, bringing energy, curating energy is my thing. Like, I've produced whole festival stages, like the Juneteenth Festival, the first 4 years of it.
Wow.
You know, here in Atlanta. I've done a lot of just things like that, but I have my own events where I have arts, youth arts enrichment involved with it, where I had youth open mic, youth doing everything. Also having grown-ups a part of it, but it was just like a whole village from 8 to 2 in the morning, dancing, DJ performances, children, whole families. I did it for like 7 years, 22 of them.
Ooh.
And it, you know, speaking of business, it helped to jumpstart some of the businesses in the community. You know, because it was vegan food, massage therapy, youth open mic, you know, vendors and, you know, like that. So there's certain restaurants that are multi-million-dollar restaurants who did 19 of my events, and they got popular from doing those events, and they'll tell you to this day.
That's what's
Can you
up.
can you say the name?
Tassili.
Oh, Cecilia? I love them.
Yeah, I played a big part in her early marketing in that way and another way.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Are you vegan?
I am pescatarian.
Okay, seafood only.
Yeah, I was gonna say pesking, then you might sneak a little.
You might sneak a little chicken.
in there.
I eat chicken. I haven't eaten chicken since 20 years.
Some lamb, little lamb chops.
No, I don't have no desire. I eat what I want to eat.
Okay.
And I don't want none of that.
I feel it. I understand.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat some of the stuff I eat no more.
So how did you get into, so you moved to Atlanta. What was your career in Atlanta? I know you did all the festivals, but what was the start in 2003? What did you start in?
Events.
Okay, events. Okay.
In 2005, I did my first event with Dr. Boyd Graves at the Auburn Research Library. And that's when I first started connecting with WRFG radio. And so that's where I started. I started doing events, you know, doing the events and vending. Vending because I had my own shea butter product in stores for 5 years. I had
What's the name of it?
Soft Shea.
Okay, Soft Shea. I love Shea Brothers. I love that.
I had a good product, and then I did that for 5 years, and then I made jewelry. I made this actually.
Okay.
And so I was big time with vending and stuff. So I started having events around the fact that I would have so much product and I wanted people to come buy it. And I did vegan food. I'm a vegan chef in my own right. My 23-year-old is too. You know what I mean? And so I would just have events at the house. They started at the house.
So wait, you didn't do a 9 to 5 when you came to Atlanta. You came straight into like
I went to
entrepreneurship.
school. I went to Clark Atlanta. I was in school getting that refund money.
So you flipped the refund money.
And yep.
So what you was in Clark Atlanta for? What was you majoring?
I got a master's in social work.
There you go.
That's yeah.
So she said you took the refund, flipped it, started doing the events, started doing everything else from that, but you wasn't punching nobody's clock. It just didn't make sense to you, or what's your?
It's just never made sense to me.
Why doesn't it make sense?
Trading hours for dollars is so interesting to me. I'm a mother. I'm just a free spirit.
Love it.
It just never felt right. You know, I used to do substitute teaching when I first got my bachelor's degree. Back when before I moved to Atlanta. And, you know, it just, I would trip out. They'd be like, you know, this teacher that you're substituting for, been doing this for 30 years or some stuff. And I'm like, how in the world could you come to this same place? Not even just the place, the same
That's
class,
my biggest thing.
do
I
the
can't, I
same
don't want to go
But you know what? I
Do
appreciate
this-
those
never-
people because I can't do it. But I'm glad that
Somebody
they decided
gotta
to
do it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody got to do it.
Especially our teachers. Shout out to all
Shout
our
out to
teachers.
the educators.
Yeah.
We sure appreciate y'all. 'cause
Yeah,
I
that
can't do it.
consistency is important, but
Absolutely.
I couldn't understand it. I never could understand it. And so, you know, my type of leadership requires me to have a certain freedom, you know, to do what I do.
Okay, leadership. Let's step into that. Like, what type of leadership? Like,
I like it. I love it. I've done a lot. I was executive director for a radio show for 10 years, which really raised the bar for community radio, the way that I was doing it. People would tell me I could not stop listening to your show. You know, this one man came into the studio and said, I had to come in here and tell you that I just lost my job because I couldn't get out the car because I was listening to your show.
so give me what type of leader are you? Like, give me some tips for our listeners.
Yeah, okay. Leadership is all about not being non-judgmental and seeing people where they are. See, I'm really good at putting together talent. I was leader of a band for 10 years. You know, I know how to pull talent. You know what I mean? I was, you know, I lead when I'm producing stages. I manage the stage, I host the stage, I produce it months before, you know, for festivals that's well attended, you know, and I'm running all that. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with people is not always the easiest, but you know, you have to, it's a skill set, you know, to know, you know, it's for me, the easiest part, the easiest way to do it is just love. You know, just love people, care about people, have compassion for people, you know, because I care about people. I always love to hire people. I love to help people make money. I want to see people succeed. I want to see people manifest their dreams. I want to see people utilize their skills to the fullest. I want to see children utilizing their skills to the fullest. I want to see parents understanding that children have skills, talents, and passions from day one. And it's our job to find what that is. You know, when I was doing the events with the children and things like that, you know, because I didn't have that when I was young. Somebody teaching me an instrument, make sure I was doing, because I'm always doing music when I was little, always trying to do a show for my parents or for my family, or just little, always. Why didn't you put me in piano? Why didn't you, you know what I mean? Put me in real shows and pay attention to me in that way.
So,
and
you think kids need extracurricular
they
activity?
have to have it based on their passion.
Not the parents' passion.
No,
The
you
child's
find their
passion.
interest, and you
go.
find you might hit and miss. Oh, I thought you was interested in this. No, you're not. All right.
Try something else.
I did that with my older child. I bought drums. I did everything.
yeah.
He just wasn't sticking to that. He's an artist, you know, Sheriese. So you focus on him and his art. He has a bachelor's degree in game art, and he's working on his master's in game design right now.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So I pushed him in the direction he wanted to go. You know, I pushed him, make sure
He
he went
kind
to
of pushed you a little bit, right?
he pushed me to like, Mom, no, I don't want to be an engineer. Because then I went there. You know what I mean? No, I don't. By the time he was a senior, no, I don't want to do that. I paid for school his whole life. He never went to any public school until he begged me. One year in high school he went, but that didn't work out. So he went back to private school, you know.
Okay.
But
So you like private school?
I like truth-centered school.
Love it.
Okay.
So what would you say, homeschool, private school, or public? I know you wouldn't say public, but
I'll say truth-centered.
There you go.
So, you know.
Whoever telling the truth, that's what we're going to
That's it. That's it. Because people say African-centered.
Yeah.
You know, and I changed that to truth-centered. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
You know, because people get perturbed
they're
by
tricking us with our own eyes with the media now, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. So school, is a definite for you? Like, you think that college, okay, you got to get that degree?
Not for everybody.
Okay.
School's not for everybody.
Understood.
You know, that's one thing about being a leader too, understanding that people are diverse.
Yeah.
Everybody's different.
Okay.
You cannot treat everybody the same way and expect the same out of everyone, or expect everyone to process things the same.
Correct.
Some people's allergic to strawberries or whatever, you know.
So I got another question for you. Do you think we can have a woman president? Do you think a woman can lead the United States?
You want to talk to me about United States and politics for real?
Well, you know,
Are you really ready?
As someone that lives and believes, like,
I just want to hear your
perspective.
opinion.
Yeah, perspective is everything.
Yeah, your perspective. This is a simple question. Do you think a woman can lead the United States? Like they saying, I hear them talks of Michelle Obama is gonna run. What's your views on that?
All right, I want to say, I just want to go back. You know, this world is now a patriarchal white society, and it's not a good society right now. It's, you know, in ancient times, there was matriarchal societies, you know, where women ran things and men held them high to do it. We live in a misogynistic, very male controlling environment, and it didn't just happen overnight. You know, it's something that happened over time. When we talk about, you know, birthing, you know, how it used to be midwives, and then they start burning up calling them witches, and, you know, start trying to bring in the white males to put you in this institutional environment. And you know, these was back in the day, you know, in a whole nother part of the world. But it is the process that's been going on for a long time. And so, you know, bringing back the feminine energy balance.
Explain that. We need to know what that is.
Exactly.
You know, because I mean,
What is the feminine energy? Like, give it to us in a couple of words.
The feminine energy is just that. You know, it is energy that is feminine. You know, but it is that nurturing.
But see, how do
listen.
See, here we go. There we go.
It is that nurturing energy. You know, that mama energy, that love.
So do you think the mama need to be at home with the kids, or they need to be out running the street?
Yeah, I think mothers need to be mothers.
Okay. Me too.
Yeah. It's good. It's best for the children.
They need to breastfeed. They need to have they need to be feminine. So.
I like the at-home birth thing. Like, once we did the midwife and the doula, and just giving the whole rundown on how it actually works, I'm like, I don't know.
I would never ever do
I'm
nothing but
it
that.
just makes more sense to do it that way. I'm thinking of different scenarios. Your doctor might be out the country on a golfing trip, and you're supposed to have a baby, and now you gotta get a whole new doctor that you don't even know, and it's just a lot of stuff. So I think
the doctors push the people to have C-sections,
so
that they can have that convenience.
Correct.
You know, my sister Sakisa, she'd be like, "Oh man, I want to come to Belize, but oh man, I got too many births." You know, she's not sitting there trying to control somebody's birth.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the answer was no, a woman couldn't run the United States, or she could.
Oh, to go back to that,
Yes.
of course.
A black woman or a white woman? Because now it's different now. Come on.
Well, the thing about it is, I'm a black woman.
And I think
You know what I'm saying?
Black is correct.
I know who I am, you know, in my relation to this planet. We are the original mamas. We are the mothers of civilization.
So, do you think if the woman ran the country, do we need a man assisting her? Just a woman assisting her? Do you think it could be a group of women and they running it, and then a man? What do you think the man job would be?
I think it's already in balance. It's already in balance with masculine energy. Either way can work if it's the right candidate for the position that's qualified.
Explain the ideal candidate.
Yeah.
When I say candidate, I mean someone who's actually qualified, who have the skill set, who have the experience to step up and be able to truly handle the job and be successful at that, man or woman.
Okay. I like your opinion.
There we go.
And your perspective.
Nice.
Okay, we got to get into your documentary now.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Tell these people what you got going on with this documentary.
Okay, misconceptions about conception expels the myths of birthing. And, you know, we look at the truth and rights when it comes to birthing. We are exposing and, you know, just getting more into looking at and exploring this Black maternal health crisis, which is a national crisis. It's not a secret, it's not a conspiracy. You know, they're actually, the CDC will talk about it, people will talk about the numbers, the Black maternal deaths when it comes to the high rates of mothers and babies passing away within a year of birth that are Black women and babies. It's very, very, very disproportionate to other ethnic backgrounds, and a lot of it has to do with systemic racism in the hospitals, and you know, systemic racism period, but we're speaking about birth, so we focus in on a hospital and the way Black women are treated. There's many cases that's well known that's being highlighted and showcased about women who go to the hospital and they say, oh, they just had a baby. They say, oh, this is wrong with me. I'm feeling this. And they send them home and say, oh, you're good, you know, and then they pass away. You know, and it's happening a lot. It's happened a lot where Black women are just not taken serious. So that's the systemic racism part. But the C-section culture where women are just getting this major surgery for no real reason. C-section is the part of what I'm saying.
It's the terriblest thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, it was born out of, you know, that patriarchal male doctor, you know, taking over the lead of medical practice, where you were just always cutting somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Most of these obstetricians have never seen a natural birth. All they know is cutting. You know what I mean? They always getting you ready. They always getting you ready for an operation. Like when a woman goes in the hospital, they say she's pregnant, about to have a baby, they say she can't eat. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why? Because they're getting ready for a operation, even though they don't even know if they need it. You know what I mean? It's always the procedure, you know, and the way that they go about it. So misconceptions about conception is really, you know, the people on the front lines, the midwives, the nurses, the doctors, you know, the birth workers, period, the doulas, and researchers in this arena. On my radio show, when I got pregnant with my 8-year-old, I did research because when I had my 23-year-old, I was unhappy with that. It didn't feel right, I didn't like it, so this time I wanted it to be right. So I researched everything, and I researched myself into the Black maternal health crisis that I didn't know existed. You understand? No, you're not supposed to lay on your back with this institutional light on, you know, the whole time. You're supposed to be able to get up and walk around. I started learning things like this.
Like your science project or something. They cutting up on a frog on the table in science class.
You know, this is supposed to be a process.
Natural.
And it's smooth when it's natural, because
You know
my
what I mean?
last child, it was so smooth.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was learning these things from my research, and I was like, oh my God, I was on the radio 5 years now, because it was 10 years altogether. So I was on for 5 years, and I said, oh my God, we got to tell everybody, you know, and I started this series called Misconceptions About Conception, which is the film now, you know, and so Sakisa came on as my co-producer, and we did the best shows. People were calling from all over the world, like, when are you guys gonna have this again? So I just started doing them every month. I did it for 5 years, every fourth Friday, because my show was every Friday. And so every fourth Friday I did Misconception, and Sakisa helped me keep it alive because she was in the industry. I'm more on the journalist side. She's more in
the trenches,
field.
doing it. Yeah.
And she was a brilliant producer, brought brilliant people, because that's what producing was for me. You know who can speak about this the best. You know who can be electrified, keep attention. You know these things.
Convey the message the best way, so people will,
and have the message, you know? And she was great at it, and it helped me so much. And so we went forward now. We got our director, Spurgeon, who I did the music video with, who was a great, great friend, beautiful energy. I'm talking about good people. That's all I deal with. I don't care what talent. Talent is second, energy is first.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you
Facts.
can deal with loyal people. You can deal with good people with great energy who love and who ready to grow? We might go through something even, but are you ready to grow and get through it in an honest, positive fashion?
Yeah.
You know, and so that's my team, you know.
That's what's up.
And so we have the trailer ready. It's just that, being able to raise the funds to be able to produce a quality project. I am grassroots, but my presentation is diamond. You understand?
Like that.
I don't play. You know what I mean? And so it takes money to
Yeah.
do that. And so
Talk about that.
Yeah, so I
when we
haven't-
talk about money, are you talking about 10,000, 100,000, a million?
Yeah, how much would it cost?
How much do you think it just to really push your
And with the marketing, include everything.
I would say I have $1 million proposal made.
Yeah.
I have a $500,000 proposal made.
Yeah.
I have a $100,000 proposal. You know what I mean?
But to do it how
So-
you want to do it, $1 million at least.
Yeah.
And do you
Yeah.
think you would go over the million, or you think you could stay in the budget of $1 million?
I can stay there. I mean, I have other ideas for other projects. You know what I mean? That is good for human beings, period. But I'm a Black woman about the healing of
Right.
us. And so there's nobody coming to save us.
So
You know what I mean? And so I'm
Sure.
really into research. If I get $1 million, I'm about to. They ain't gonna pay for the research we need. I'm a social researcher. I'm trained in school how to do social
Right.
research.
And they take money.
Yeah, so things like that, so but this particular film, it don't take a lot to do what we're doing and make it quality. You know what I mean? But we have not raised enough to be able to do it the way we want to do it, and we just took our time. You know
Ain't
what I
nothing
mean?
wrong with time.
Yeah, we just taking our time.
You ready to get into this speed round?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So these come
But
fast.
let me give them the website.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that
please.
good?
Yes,
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, it's themisconceptions.org. Themisconceptions.org.
And we're gonna put that in the link below.
Make it definitely.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna get into this speed round. These are questions coming at you fast.
Okay.
All right. I asked the first one.
Wait a minute. I wasn't already in the speed round.
No.
You was already asking questions fast.
That was just a regular conversation.
This was about to be the super speed 2.0 Sonic round. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Monogamy or polygamy?
Monogamy.
Okay.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Democrat or Republican?
None.
Money or impact?
Impact.
Passion or money?
Passion.
People or passion?
Oh,
McDonald's or Burger King?
neither.
Heels or flip-flops?
Flip-flops.
United States or out the country?
Out the country.
All right.
I think that's it.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Business Talk TV. That was an amazing episode.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We out.
We out.
My decisions lead to victory. Everywhere I've been, man, I've been up in my bag. All about my biz, executing all my plans. Connecting all the ends, yeah, I'm running to the wins. Fighting to the end, all I see is checker flags. Victory.